Never thought a day would come when I'd see Karen so humbled by her own arrogance. Her pride and ego had cost her the one thing she truly cared about in this world. She used to walk around like she owned the place. Well, technically, she thought she did. But that day, her crown fell and she was forced to taste the bitter fruit of her own rules. Now, let's rewind. Welcome to Prodigy Tales. Make sure you like and subscribe for your top-notch HOA drama before we dive in deeply. Let us know in the comments where you're watching this story from. Karen runs my neighborhood like a self-proclaimed queen with a clipboard and a radio. Whatever she says happens, no questions asked. She makes sure she controls every nook and cranny of our gated community, and she never fails to come up with new, ridiculous fines or absurd rules for everyone to follow. One week it's no cars parked on driveways overnight. The next it's trash bins must face east. She thrives on control. It's the air she breathes. Her latest act of tyranny was the installation of a digital license plate scanner at the main gate. According to her, it was to ensure maximum security and smooth traffic management. But really, it was just another way for her to feel powerful and watch who came in and out. The rule was simple, or so she claimed. Every homeowner and approved visitor had to submit their vehicle license plates to the HOA so the scanner could recognize them and open the gates automatically. If you had a new visitor, you had to call the HOA first to get approval. No clearance, no entry. Even deliveries or ambulances had to be pre-registered. Karen called it modern community safety. The rest of us called it what it was, madness dressed up as policy. I didn't have a problem with it at first. I thought, fine, if she wants to play security guard, let her. I just wanted peace. But that peace didn't last long. Because one Saturday afternoon, that same system Karen was so proud of would turn against her. And for once, there'd be no fine high enough to fix what she'd lose. I live right across from Karen's house, so I see more of her than I'd ever like to. Still, her daughter, Clara, was different. Sweet girl, 16. Always polite, always smiling. She had a heart condition, something serious, but Karen never liked to talk about it. She called it a minor rhythm thing. Everyone else knew Clara was the only thing that softened that woman's stone heart. That Saturday afternoon was one of those lazy, quiet days. The sun was out, birds were chirping, and for once, the neighborhood didn't feel suffocated by HOA drama. I had just finished washing my car, my pride and joy, and sat back on my porch, admiring the shine like a proud mechanic. Across the street, Clara was on her porch, skipping rope, earbuds in, completely in her own world. She noticed me watching and smiled. "Good afternoon, Mr. Spencer," she said with that polite, innocent tone only good kids have. I nodded back. "Afternoon, Clara." She went back to skipping, and I leaned back in my chair, enjoying the quiet. But then I heard the rope hit the concrete and a dull thud. I looked up and saw Clara on the ground. Her body was stiff, her hands twitching, her face pale. I ran across the street so fast I nearly tripped over the curb. When I reached her, her pulse was rapid but uneven, her chest rising in shallow bursts. She wasn't responding, just gasping for air. I shouted her name, tapped her shoulders, nothing. I didn't waste another second. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911. My hands were shaking as I gave them the address, explaining that a teenage girl had collapsed and wasn't breathing properly. The dispatcher's voice was calm, reassuring, but my heart was pounding like a drum. They told me to stay on the line and start CPR if she stopped breathing. I knelt beside her, trying to remember every first aid video I'd ever watched. The seconds dragged like hours. I just kept praying the ambulance would get there fast, because something told me Clara's time was running out. I wasn't even thinking straight anymore. My hands were trembling as I pressed against Clara's chest, counting compressions, praying she'd gasp or move. The dispatcher's voice was still in my ear, guiding me through every step, but my mind was racing. "Where's the ambulance?" I asked over and over. The operator said they were close, less than 2 minutes away. That should have been good news. But this was Karen's neighborhood, and nothing was ever simple here. Karen was at the gates that afternoon, enforcing the new security protocols, as she called it. Typical. She rotated shifts with the guards sometimes just to feel important. So while her daughter lay unconscious on her porch, Karen was down at the entrance, clipboard in hand, policing who could or couldn't come through. I tried calling her, once, twice, 10 times, straight to voicemail. I screamed for help, hoping someone nearby could reach her, but the street was empty. Then I heard faint sirens in the distance and felt relief wash over me. The medics were coming. Clara was going to be okay, except she wasn't. At the gate, the ambulance had arrived but couldn't get in. The new digital license scanner wouldn't recognize their vehicle, and since they weren't pre-approved, the system denied access. The guard tried calling the override number, but Karen insisted on verification. The medics explained they had an emergency call from a man named Spencer Adams, that someone was in cardiac arrest. Karen's jaw clenched. She knew my name, and because of her personal grudge, stemming from the time I challenged her over a ridiculous parking fine, she refused to believe me. "I'm not authorizing anything until I confirm this with the board," she said, waving her radio. Those 15 minutes felt like eternity. I was still doing chest compressions, sweat pouring down my face, while the ambulance sat trapped behind her iron gates. Finally, Alex, another HOA worker who'd heard the commotion, ran to the gate and forced it open manually. The ambulance sped in, sirens blaring. Karen was still arguing with Alex, yelling about protocol violations, completely unaware she'd just cost herself everything. When the ambulance finally screeched into the neighborhood, the medics rushed out before the wheels even stopped spinning. They stormed up Karen's driveway, medical kits flying open, defibrillator ready. I stepped aside, completely drained, watching as they worked on Clara, my hands still shaking, my shirt soaked with sweat. 16-year-old female, no pulse, unresponsive, one medic shouted. They started CPR, then charged the defibrillator. Clear. A jolt. Clara's body lifted and dropped. Still nothing, another said, charging again. But deep down, I could already feel it. She was gone. Those precious minutes wasted at the gate had stolen whatever chance she had left. When Karen's SUV finally sped around the corner, she was still mid-argument, shouting something about chain of command to Alex over her radio. But the moment she saw the ambulance parked in front of her house, her words froze. The clipboard slipped from her hand, clattering to the pavement. She ran up the steps screaming, "Clara, what happened? What happened to my daughter?" The paramedics held her back while they kept trying. But when the lead medic looked up, his face said it all. He whispered something softly, something Karen refused to hear. She collapsed right there on the porch, clutching her chest, gasping. No, she's fine. She just needed her meds. She's fine." But she wasn't. Later, one of the medics told her what happened at the gate, how her delay cost them critical time. At first, she denied it, insisting they were exaggerating. Then, when Alex confirmed everything, she broke down completely. Her screams echoed through the street long after the ambulance pulled away. This time, carrying a body instead of hope. Karen's story spread faster than wildfire. News stations picked it up, neighbors talked, and social media tore her apart. Videos from the gate went viral, showing her arguing while her daughter was dying. She resigned from the HOA within a week and disappeared a few months later, leaving behind nothing but silence and guilt. Now, every time I pass that gate, I think of her rules, her pride, and how it all ended. Her system kept the wrong people out and locked death right in. The end. Please, like and subscribe for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think Karen got what she deserved? Comment below.